Hello, Chill Computer Guy. Today we're in Reason 10. Now this is the Reason 10, the latest beta to come out. Reason 10's coming out tomorrow, and you can see here that we're in demo mode. Now why are we in demo mode? We're in demo mode because this is representative of exactly what's in the box. If you were to purchase Reason 10 tomorrow, this is basically what you would get. This is no rack extensions, no VSTs, no third-party samples, nothing. This is basically what you get in the box, and that's why we're in demo mode. Now if you take a look here in the browser, we have our same classic instruments, the Kong, the Redrum, the Dr. Octorex, but we also have Europa and Grain. These are the new synthesizers in Reason 10, and then of course we have Thor, which is probably still the most used synth for me personally in Propellerhead Reason. Now below that we have the Subtractor, which is a classic, a Maelstrom, the ID8, which is still a very, very useful device. You could throw this in like 5 different tracks, throw all your MIDI notes down, and basically compose your entire song with an ID8, and then later on do all your sound design. So it's still a useful instrument. Now below that we have our 3 new sample-based instruments, which are the Klang tuned percussion, the Pangea World Instruments, and the Humana Voice Ensemble, which is actually a really unique device. All 3 of these I think have unique uses and will actually represent kind of a new vibe for the rack. Below that is the NNXT, which I've grown more fond of as of late. We also have the NN19, which is another classic, a real simple sampler. Real great for just one sample if you just want to use one sample in your track as opposed to a multi-sampler, which is the NNXT. You have the NN19. Below that is the external MIDI instrument. That's pretty much all the instruments you get in Reason 10. That's all in the box. Something that I did want to point out real quick is in a previous version of Reason 10 beta, I put that in demo mode, and in this list of instruments was Radical Piano, and I noticed that it's not there anymore, which is a bit of a concern to me because I know in the last, I just upgraded this is the latest Reason beta, but I just upgraded it this morning. But before I upgraded it, Radical Piano was in the list of instruments, so it's for some reason missing, which is a bit of a concern because I was hoping it would be a default instrument. But as far as I know, it's free, but you might have to go to the rack extension shop and download it, which is kind of a disappointment because I was really kind of wanted it to be like a free device that was automatically embedded into the program. But I don't know, maybe it'll be coming back. But next up, let's take a look at the effects. You have the pulverizer, the echo, the alligator, the automatic, the soft tube. The 2 soft tube amps are still included, of course, but new in the box. This is in the box. Now in the past, if you got this as a free rack extension, you'd have to go to the shop and download it, but now it comes installed automatically by default in the program. It's part of the program. It's it's a default instrument in the program, and what that allows you to do is basically use this in combinator patches, and you don't have to worry about when you load up your combinator, oh, the rack extension's missing. It's ingrained into the program by default. So the synchronous is now ingrained into the program, which is a great thing. Other than that, everything's pretty much the same. You have your Scream, you have your BV512. This is an older device that I still find myself using all the time to cut off highs and cut off low frequencies. I probably use the EQ more than the vocoder, but it's still a really handy, useful device. Below that we have the RV7000, the MK2, which is the new impulse response reverb, which is still one of my favorite reverbs of all time. Below that is the Neptune pitch adjuster, which I always use on my vocal tracks. And then they still have the MClass devices, which are, in my opinion, need an upgrade, but they're still very useful. We have the EQ, the compressor, the maximizer, and the stereo imager. The stereo imager is really a great handy device that I find myself using to widen tracks quite a bit. And then we also have the half rack devices. They've kept those in, which is great because I love these. These are really good. They're similar to the ID8 in the way that they're just real cut and dry utility devices that you can just throw in your rack. We have the reverb, the delay line, the fullback distortion, the envelope controlled filter, the chorus flanger, the phaser, the unison, the compressor limiter, and the 2-band EQ. And so I'm glad they kept those in Reason 10. Next up, we have the utilities. We got the combinator, of course, but new in Reason 10 is ingrained into the program now by default is the Pulsar Dual LFO. Normally, this was given out free with, I don't remember which release of Reason, but this was given out as a free rack extension. But again, you had to go to the rack extension store and download it. But now it's automatically ingrained into the program. Again, this means if you create combinator patches that use the Pulsar Dual LFO, when you load them into another version of Reason, or a demo version of Reason, or somebody else's version, it's automatically in there. So you're not, when you load up your combinator patch, you're not going to get that missing device dialog and have to go to the rack extension and put your crap, all your credentials in. It's automatically by default included, and I really like the Pulsar Dual LFO. I don't really care for the look of it, but it is a really handy device. I really like the shuffle, the idea of shuffling your LFO. Below that, we have my favorite arpeggiator of all time, the RPG-8. And the Matrix pattern sequencer. Both these devices are super useful, and I love them. We have the Spider audio merger and the Spider CV merger, old classics. I honestly wish they would have made these full racks with maybe more outputs on them. The half rack devices are handy, but they only have 4 outputs or 4 inputs merged to 1 input, or vice versa. It would have been nice to have a 1:8 full rack device, or an 8:1 full rack device. Below that is the Mixer 14.2, which in my opinion is out of date, but it's still a handy device. I'd like to see these mixers maybe like a 16.2 or an 8.2. I don't know, 14.2 just seems a little weird to me, but a very useful thing. Actually, as far as the mixers, I'd like to see like a 4.2, an 8.2, and a 16.2 or something. I don't know, something that's a little bit more regular. 14.2 and 6.2 just seem a little random, but they're very useful again. And then you have your standard mix channel and your audio channel, of course. And then below that is the Rebirth input machine, which I still have no idea what it's for, but whatever it's for, it's there. But yeah, that's pretty much what you get now in Reason 10. That's what comes in the box. And then of course you have your players up top. You have your dual arpeggiator, your note echo, and your scales and chords. So you still have your players. What I would like to see in Reason 10 is maybe a separate tab for VSTs, so you could put your VSTs in a separate menu, because I find myself, I don't have any VSTs installed now, but I find myself when I'm using Reason devices, I have to kind of funnel through all the VSTs. It's kind of like if I want to find something that a device in Reason that starts with a V or a Z, I have to scroll all the way down, all through the VSTs to get at it, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, a VST tab over here would be super handy, maybe in a 10.2 upgrade or something. But below that, you have your Reason 10 sounds. So these are all new sounds. You have your orchestra sounds, which are orchestral, which are super handy. I love these. These are great organic kind of orchestral sounds, if I could say that word. Below that, you have your normal factory sounds. And as you can see, all your patches for all your devices are in there. Something new is this drum supply. Now, this is actually really kind of cool, because what's unique about this is you have your Kong patches up front, but then you have individual samples. You have bass drum, snare drum, hi-hats, cymbals, toms, rim shots, claps, percussion, noise, and effects. And what's great about this is if you open up like the bass drum folder, for example, there is a ton of bass drums. And I kind of went through some of these briefly, and there's some good stuff in there. But the idea of having all your drums all in one area is super handy. I do wish you could edit these 2 folders, maybe put your own drum samples in here and customize these in some way. But yeah, there's just a ton of samples in each one, and so the idea of having all your drum samples in one area is pretty appealing to me. It's pretty awesome. Below that, you have your loop supply, and you have different genres, but what's great about these loops is they're all Rex files. In other words, you have your loop, but then you can open that and you have each slice of the loop, drag each individual slice of that loop in as an audio sample. So super powerful. Rack extensions, this is going to be all your new presets for all your new devices. It's under rack extensions menu, which is kind of unusual, but Maybe later on that'll be ingrained into the main factory sounds, but right now it's in rack extensions. So all your all your players, your Europa, your grain, your Humana, your clang, your note, your Pangea, your pulsar, all that stuff is in the rack extensions folder here. So see this gap here? You can see where my cursor's at. Everything above that gap cannot. These are concrete folders. In other words, this PC and desktop, these cannot be changed or moved or edited in any way. Song samples, same thing, and recent patches. All these things are concrete. They cannot be edited, removed, or in any way, which is kind of annoying, but they're handy, useful menus. And then everything below this gap is pretty much all customized. These are your own personal folders, which you can plug in here. So I just wanted to do a quick overview in demo mode so you can kind of see what you're actually getting in the box with Reason 10. If you were to go out and purchase Reason 10 tomorrow when it comes out, the instruments and the samples and the drum supply, the loop supply, all the Reason 10 sounds, all the instruments, effects, utilities, and players that I showed you, all those come in the box now by default. And so that's pretty cool. I don't know where the Radical piano went, but hopefully it'll be put back in for the release date tomorrow. Anyway, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Give a thumbs up. Give a comment. Let me know, are you upgrading to Reason 10? I'm pretty excited about Reason 10. I don't really have the money to upgrade, but I probably will, maybe eventually. I'll probably get to 10.2 or something by the time I upgrade, but I might upgrade, but I'm definitely probably not going to have the money to upgrade tomorrow, but I probably will in the next 6 months or year, hopefully upgrade to Reason 10, because I really do like the grain and the new Europa, as well as the 3 sample, the Kling, the Pangea, and the Humana are also very nice. Anyway, give a thumbs up, give a comment, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend about the channel, and we'll see you guys again. Bye-bye now.